annual reporting and other tasks connected with payroll. Let's see what are this. So yesterday I told you something about P60. So here you'll come to know, as an employer, you need to report to HMRC on the previous tax year, which ends on 5th April, right? So you have to let the HMRC know that this is the year which has been closed. So last FPS, when you send it, it should be final, right? If you have 13-month payroll, then you can send an additional FPS also, but before 19th you have to do it. Okay, normally, otherwise it will be considered as a year-end EYU correction, like EYU, previous year correction. Okay, if you do anything after 19th of April. So you have to complete the previous year taxation, submission, and few activities that you need to complete is important. Okay, so you have to let HMRC know. Then you have to give your employees a P60 once the final payroll is done, so that you have all the cumulative figure and year-end information for the employees to share the P60. Then we'll start the activity of generating P60 like we do for Form 16. Okay. Then simultaneously you have to prepare for the new tax year as well. Once you share all the information, you close the financial year, then you can start with the new tax year. Okay. As I said, first step will be, what will be the first step you do when you start a new year? Do you remember? So what you can do, first you have to check the new rates are updated or not in the system. Your
Yeah.
software is upgraded or not. Okay. So you can connect with your software company, or else if you receive the notification, you can go ahead and upgrade it. Then after doing it, you have to, first step, you have to update the tax code for the employees. Okay. This will be the second step. Tax code will be, you'll get the new tax code when you update your software with the new rates. Otherwise, the same old rate will be captured, right? So first step is to upgrade your rates according to the new year. And then you have to update the tax code for the employee. So there is a auto update. As I said earlier, most of the software will provide you auto upgrade. So what will happen? For example, last year, the default tax code was 1257L. Now, current. In next year, it changes to 1300L. default default tax code. So it will ask you, do you want to upgrade all the default to new default tax code? So if you say yes, it will update whatever last tax code, that is on 5th April, whoever has 1257L, that will be updated to 1300L from 6th April automatic. If you want to do manual, you can reject that. You can do manual upload also. Okay, if you want to, because that is normal. If last year someone has default, this year also will give that person default tax code. So you understood this part, that the default tax code will update to new default tax code. Okay, 1257L is the default one currently. So it will, if the new year tax code default is 1300L, so it will update to 1300L. If you say yes, update it. The system will ask you, do you want to update the same default tax code? For example, me. Okay, my tax code on 5th April, that is the last day of my financial year. The last tax code for me was 1257L in the system. Okay, and for this year, this is the default tax code according to HMRC. HMRC says this is the emergency and default tax code. So on 6th April, if HMRC changes the default tax code to 1300L in the HMRC website, so system will have that configuration. Some systems, what they do, they will match. Okay, this person has the default tax code as last tax code. So we can update to the new default tax code, that is 1300L on 6th April. Okay, so what they will do, if we have 1000 employee, or for example, 700 employee has the same tax code, default tax code. So system will ask us, 700 employee has default tax code. So do you want me to, like system will ask, do you want me to update the new default tax code from 6th April for these employees? Okay, so you have to select yes. If you say yes, it will update the new tax code for the employee, that is 1300L. This will be the first step. The other step will be anyone who has different tax code. Like if any employee has 1100L on the last day, so system will update 1100L only for them. That will not change. Okay, understood? Because they have customized one. Now what happens? this doesn't mean that everything you have updated is right. Okay, you are just following the HMRC procedures. Okay, so these are the best practice you can do. Then what you have to do, once you have updated this data from 6th April for everyone, then you have to download a report from HMRC. Okay, which will give you all the tax code. For example, you have 1,000 employees. Okay, so HMRC will give you, if 700 employees, tax code should be different out of it, or 500. So HMRC will give you those data only wherever it changes. So you can change for them only for those employees. Others you can continue what you have done. Now you can use 7th April also as a date, start date. Okay, that is fine, because 6th April you have already used one update. If HMRC gives you 6th April, you can replace also. That is also fine with what you have updated, or else you can do it with 7th April also. Okay, this is year start download, which is called P9 report. Okay, when you are in the new financial year, this report is received only once by HMRC. That is for almost all the employees from P9. Okay, in the report it will mention as P9. Okay, P9 means start of the year update. So we call it year like start of the year report for tax codes. Okay, one will be, first you will upgrade based on software and HMRC rules. Then you will download HMRC report, that is start of the year report. Okay, here it may happen you will receive maybe all employees tax code and 1,000 employees. Okay, because this is start of the year. Then then you have to also download monthly report. After this third step will be your monthly report. Understood? This is the start of the year report. Now monthly report, what it will be like, if you have your cutoff on 10th normally. Okay, so from 6th April to 10th April, it may happen that in between 2 or 3 days again HMRC changes the tax code, and what we call it P6. Okay, P6 update will be later. Okay, then you have to download the P6 also. Here you may receive less employees, 20, 30 or 50 or 100 employees. Okay, so that is fine. So third step will be the monthly report. So you are fine. This is the most critical step that you have to understand, because people think about it. What should I do? What people make mistakes also. Then they have to delete it one by one. If you upload something like 700 employees or 800 employees or 1,000 employees, then you have to delete. If you make mistake, you have to delete the tax codes manually. So this will be the start of the new year, what you have to do and what you need to do when. It is also mentioned here, some details. Send your final report of the year to HMRC on or before your employee's payday. That is the last payday. By if it is March, so you can send the March final report to HMRC. That is the last year report, last month report of the financial year. Update employee records from 6th April. Here comes the tax code update. You see this software update and update payroll software. Okay, on or before your employee's payday. It is saying that on or before employee's payday, you have to update the software. Why? Because they consider that will process payroll on payday, but this is wrong. Actually speaking, this is some logic which they use, but we have to do it in well in advance, because the tax calculation will be done basis this. If we do not upgrade the software and we do the payroll calculation, it will take the old rates, and the pay date will be late for us then if you update the payroll software on the pay date. So you have to always ensure that you update before your payroll run. Not on 6th, it's fine, but at least during payroll run, you have to upgrade it so that the new calculation is considered. And update employee records from 6th April or earlier if the software provider asks you. Okay, update employee records as well, like the tax codes and all. Now this is the due date for P60. Okay, you can prepare your P60 and keep, but when should you share with employee? By 31st May you have the last day. You can share it before also, or by 31st you have to share it mandatory. Okay, like once you did the final payroll, you're confident that your payroll is closed financial year, then you can download the P60. You can prepare the P60 and keep it, and you can do the review and send it by 31st May to all the employees. Report employee expenses and benefits by 6 July. If you remember, I told you P11D B, the report that we send it in the year end to
Hmm.
HMRC about expenses and benefits. What all expense and benefits we have paid employee out of payroll, not in payroll. If it is in payroll, then we don't need to send it. Okay, because the taxation and NI will be considered in the payroll itself. Now, why do we report this separately? Because we employer has to pay NIC contribution on these expenses and benefits. Okay, employer will pay their part. Employees deduction will not happen because this is not a extra salary at times. Like expenses could be something that employee has spent and got a reimbursement from employer later on. So this is an expense for employer,
Hmm.
right? So they have to pay NIC contribution, employer part on these amounts. That's the reason they report in the year end with the NIC contributions, expenses and benefits. Okay. Give a P60 to all employees on payroll who are working for you on the last day of the tax year. So if there is someone who is leaving on 5th April, that is last day was 5th April, then also you'll generate P60. You'll not generate P45 for that person. Okay. Either P45 or P60. Okay. If employee worked till 5th April, last day was 5th April,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
employee gets P60,
Okay.
not P45. P45 is 3 copies, but P60 only 1 copy that could be
Okay.
shared. Okay. And if employee leaves before 5th April, then what will be the scenario?
To P45.
Then P60 will not be given to the
Yeah.
employee. There is a rule that even if one day is less, employee cannot ask P60. We can deny. We have to say that
P40.
you have just worked till 4th, you cannot get P60. The person who leaves on 4th April, that is one day before financial year, that person will get P45 only, not P60. The P60 summarizes the total pay and deductions for the year. Okay, as I said, like P45 and P60 almost have the same information. Okay, you must give your P6 your employees a P60 by 31st pay, as I showed you the last date. So this is a sample P60. Okay, that you can see. It looks like this, wherein you'll find the year mentioned on the top left for which year it belongs to. Like if it is 2020 to 2024, so you'll be mentioned 2024, 5th April 2024. Okay. Then the name of the employee on the right side, you see the NIC number. Like as I mentioned, that sorry, NI number. This is important whenever you see the amount related documents of employee, you'll find NI number. Even in bank documents, it will be mentioned. And then work payroll number. This is the employee ID of the
Right.
employee. And then then you will see previous employment. Okay.
Hmm.
For example, in a year, employee worked for 2 organizations. So the remaining, the first part will be for the earlier employer. Okay, which
Hmm.
will be provided through P45. Like employee can share the details in P45. So employer will keep that information in their system. Like for example, I have worked for 5 months in ABC company. Okay, April to October.
Hmm.
So I'll have a total income generated for this period, April to October. Then I join another organization in November. So I'll share this total YTD that I earned from April to October with the new employer through P45, for example. So
Okay.
the new employer will record this as a previous employment pay for me, like whatever salary I've received for April to October and whatever tax I have paid. So this will be the previous employment details. So the
Okay.
latest
So.
employer, so for example, November, okay, I've joined this organization in November, XYZ organization. Okay, from April to October, I worked with ABC company. So in
Okay.
P45, it is mentioned the total amount that I've earned from
Hmm.
April to October, what was my total salary, gross salary, and what was the tax I have paid in April to October. So that will be shared with the new organization, which is XYZ in November. Okay, so they will record this in their records. That is
Hmm.
my previous
So.
employment.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
which is like a YTD figure. YTD, you'll
Yes.
can get confused with the current employer. Okay, YTD is normally what for the current employer. Okay,
Hmm.
so this way, if there
Okay.
were two organizations, that
Hmm.
amount will be merged. Like 3 months I worked with some company ABC, and then 3 months I worked with XYZ company. Then in December, I joined this new organization, organization in which the P60 is generated now. Okay, then these 3 months, both total will be mentioned in the first section. Okay, previous
Previous
employment.
employments.
Understood?
So
It is like a
yeah.
YTD figure. Okay, might be I forgot to tell you this scenario during the tax calculation that will consider the previous employment details also. If there is any previous employment from April to October, or maybe whatever is the last day of the employee, that amount will be added in the YTD figure when we do the current calculation. Okay. If there is no dual employment in that period, so everything will be in this employment for entire financial year. Okay. Then the total of the tax year will be mentioned here. Then the last tax code, final tax code, you see this final tax code will be mentioned here. Then this NI table you see at the below. Okay. Now you have not done the calculation. We have not done the NIC calculation, right? I think, yeah. So it's just pending. Let's do it tomorrow. So these are the slabs. Okay, the earning. So in LEL, whatever employee has earned in 1 year, like LEL is a 123 pounds per week and 588 per month. So if you multiply it by 12, okay, that amount is here. So they
And
have broken down in the slabs. Okay, if employee earned till 3 slabs only, then only 3 value will be mentioned. This last one will not be mentioned. Okay, this is the higher contribution which goes above the top contribution. So this will be the total NIable salary of employee, which is sorry, NIC contribution, which is
contribution.
mentioned here. Okay, and then any statutory payment, if employee got any maternity, paternity, any of these amounts, then it will be mentioned here in that financial year. Okay, similarly, if employee has student loan and it was deducted for the financial year, then total will be mentioned here how much was deducted. Okay, here you see the pay reference number. Okay, this is the employer details. Okay, employer, company name, and then pay reference number. You remember I told you pay reference number will be a unique number for the organization, employer number. So this employee ID and NIC number. These are this helps employee to get the answer quickly from HMRC at times if they want. Okay. So let me search when we close the lecture. That time I'll share if I have this copy, blank copy, I'll share it with you. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'll keep it for tomorrow. If there is any mistake in final full payment submission of the year, what to do? Okay. Now you have to use the logic that I've told you earlier. Now wrong payments or deductions by 19th April. You remember 19th April? This is the last day you can make the correction in the last FPS. Okay, so if you make any corrections, okay, if you made a mistake and you find it by 19th April, okay, that you have to correct the previous this year. So send an additional FPS with corrected year to date figures and enter 0 in this pay period. Okay, send an additional FPS. This is not a year end correction one. Okay, sorry, this is not a previous year correction one like an EYU. It is not like an EYU. It is just a FPS, additional FPS you can send. Okay, to correct the YTD figures. You remember you have to send the corrected YTD figures with 0 in paid in this period, because this is not a period. Okay, this is just an additional FPS. You cannot mention anything in the amounts. We are not paying anything now. Okay, we are just correcting. So you just uh, update the YTD figures as a corrected amount, tax, and in YTD figure you'll have gross salary option, you'll have tax option also, and NI option also. So whichever amount you want to correct, or all of them, you can correct it. Okay, and in this period, that is you're sending additional FPS, mention it 0. So HMRC also comes to know. Okay, this is not an this is not a correction to the. Otherwise, what will happen? You can also send additional FPS as a correction. You mean like for March, you might have sent incorrect FPS. Okay. So you are sending a now corrected FPS. That can also be an additional FPS. In this corrected FPS, what you will do? Monthly, you'll share the difference only. So that is the reason you have to be very clear what kind of FPS you're sending. Okay. So this is about year we are talking now. Okay. Wrong payments or deduction after 19th April. You remember I told you if it is after 19th April, send an FPS showing the correct YTD amounts. But this will be like an EYU. Okay. That is for previous year you're correcting. Okay. So here you anyways don't need pay in this period because it is same like a YTD. Sorry, EYU that you are correcting. Okay, understood. Wrong payment date. If you mention any wrong payment date in the last FPS, for example, March. Okay, last payroll was March. You mentioned 25th April, March as payment date instead of 28th April, March, in for example. So, and you found it by 5th April. That is the end of the year. 5th April. You have to understand the logic of date always. So, the wrong payment date, you have to correct it as soon as possible. Okay, you cannot wait till 19th, right? So you come to know like payment date. Oh, I mentioned payment date as 25th, and now I see the payment is 28th. So you immediately come to know about it, right? So why they give 5th April? Do you understand any logic behind it? So the last payment date for last month, you cannot go beyond 5th April. So that is the reason what you have to do by 5th April, you have to pay employee. Last payment you have to make by 5th. That is the reason it is 5th April. And you'll come to know about the correct pay date by 5th April. Okay. So send an additional FPS with the correct payment date. That's all. The first option you see, similarly, you have to do it. Just put zero in pay in this period and even the mention the same YTD figure. Do not change it. What you sent in the earlier FPS, last FPS. That is the logic behind this information. Okay, it is little tricky. There are multiple scenarios also it can happen, but these are the main scenarios. The other scenario, whatever happen, it will fix in any one of this. Okay, it will not go any out of it. Okay, so you can fix, like you can think, okay, in which scenario this fits, and accordingly you have to follow it. Okay, as I said, normally now company whenever you see UK payroll, okay, people are more focused on RTI. Okay, people they expect that people should know RTI. Okay, that is the reason this will be important for you. So update employee payroll records. Prepare a payroll record. Identify correct tax code to use in the new tax year, like whatever we discussed now. Prepare a payroll record, which means like update the uh, details in the software if required, then upgrade your software. Enter the tax code in your payroll software, the third step. Okay, so if you see the new tax year, whatever starts is with the update the payroll system. Okay, then identify the correct tax code to use in the new tax year. As I said, okay, you have to check in HMRC website. What is the new tax code? What is the default tax code? And is your software giving you the correct tax code? Like you will get a pop-up. Okay, what is the default tax code? When you upgrade it for all the employees. So is it matching? Okay, these kind of validation you have to do. Then enter the tax code in your payroll software. Okay, identify the tax code means what you can do, you can download a report and check manually also. Like you can download the last payment report. If you are processing March payroll last, so you'll download the March report and you'll see what tax code was applied for all the employees, right? Based on which you can take your decision if you want to upgrade the current default to new default tax code. Okay, so this will be one way you can identify. The other way will be you can download the HMRC report also, but that will be a later step. Okay, so first you identify what will be the correct sequence, okay, of tax code. So this is not explained in the modules, but I'll give you the experience because I have done it in so many years. So first will be always the default tax code you will change, then you will go for the HMRC report, and that is called enter the tax code in your payroll software. Okay, first will be the default one, which is based on the new rates. You'll upgrade your software, then manually you'll update the HMRC tax codes that you receive from the report. So you understood this, right? So you have to remember this if you work for UK payroll. Two important things: year end and start of the year, and RTI. These are very important. The crucial info, because you will get penalized based on any incorrect step you follow in these mainly. normal month salary, you can correct it next month. But these extra things that you do, you need to invest a lot of time to correct it. If your software has that provision of deleting records or overriding, that is better. That can happen. Okay. The crucial information that must be included in payroll record. All employees you pay in the tax year irrespective of the amount paid. Okay. So you have to record all the employees. It could be some employees have left the organization, but still you have to record in the system. You have to record in the year-end reports also. Okay, so you have to keep those records. Even if employee has received less amount, just for 5 days amount, okay, in a financial year, still you have to record it and keep it. Okay, any employee who has worked for, like we talked about, 1 day. Okay, similarly, any employee who worked for you, even if employee worked only 1 day, one employee who joined for 1 day and then left on second day as abscond or something. So we are, if you are paying that 1 day salary, if you are recorded, if you have done the processing for that 1 day, we have to issue everything. Like P45 also will have to issue. Okay.